Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Ridgecrest City Council. We'll go ahead and get our meeting starting by calling our meeting to order with roll call.
Mayor Bruin,
Here.
Mr. Blades,
Present.
Mr. Rajaratnam,
Present.
Mr. Heyman,
Present.
Mr. Gorman.
Present.
5 present, we have a quorum.
Great. The first thing we'll do this evening is approval of our agenda. We do have one small change to our agenda, which is that on the agenda, there was originally a signal light presentation by Mr. Reed. That item has been pulled. We weren't quite ready to present it yet. But trust me, we are working on the signal lights every single day. That's all we're going to say about it. Okay. Do I have approval of the agenda as amended?
Motion to
I
approve.
make a motion to approve.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second.
Please vote.
Oh, blast. This machine.
Find your little tool. 5 ayes, motion carries.
And then if I can ask everyone to please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Captain, I see you, so Captain Dampier, if you don't mind. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Councilman Rajaratnam, if you'd lead us in the invocation, please.
Please join me in prayer. Lord, thank you for giving us this day. Lord, as we enter the month of September, Lord, as we remember the fallen due to the terrorist attacks on September 11th, 2001, Lord, I ask you for your protection to our country. Lord, our world has changed with the 9/11 attacks. We have seen how easily buildings can collapse and how quickly lives can end. Lord, give us your strength so that we can face the memory of these attacks and the changes it brought in our lives. Lord, we thank you for the bravery and for the sacrifice made by the people who saved so many lives on that day, the firefighters, the first responders, Lord, the rescue team, or the passengers or United 93. Lord, give your grace and your healing to all those people who have survived that attack. Lord, be with the families who have lost their loved ones in their attack. Lord, I ask you to give us your compassion so that we can love each other. We can see the need of loving people in this world. Lord, I ask you to give us your hope during these uncertain times and give us your peace. Lord, as we gather today to do some business which is relevant to the community, Lord, whatever decisions we make, Lord, let them be useful to this community. Lord, today we have so many service organizations here. Lord, I thank you for their service to our community and for the country and for the world abroad. Be with us throughout this day and bless each one of us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. So I want to thank everyone for being here. It's incredible to have such a wonderful crowd here and so many service organizations. And so we're going to get right away with, we've got several proclamations and presentations for this evening. If I can ask my council to join us at the podium, and Mr. Gorman will be first.
My friends, hello. I have a proclamation of the City of Ridgecrest proclaiming September 2024 Hunger Action Month. I'm pleased to present this. Whereas hunger and poverty are issues of vital concern in Kern County, where in the year 2022, 15.9% of people face hunger in Kern County, and 22.1% of children do not know where their next meal will come from. And whereas everyone needs nutritious food to thrive, and in every community in America, people are working hard to provide for themselves and their families. Yet, in the year 2022, 44 million people, 1 in 7, including more than 13 million children, 1 in 5, faced food insecurity in the U.S. That includes more than 144,000 residents in Kern County. And whereas the wonderful Community Food Center at the Community Action Partnership of Kern, that's CAPK, Food Bank is committed to working alongside various partners and organizations to fight these food insecurity numbers in Kern County. And whereas the CAPK Food Bank has over 200,000 interactions with community members a month, and whereas the CAPK Food Bank distributed over 20 million pounds of food through more than 200 pantry and commodity locations throughout Kern County, and whereas the month of September has been designated Hunger Action Month in order to bring attention to food insecurity in our communities and to enlist the public in the movement to end hunger by taking action, including volunteering, social media campaigns, donations, and the annual Feed the Need food drive at Kern County Fair, September 24th, 2024, to ensure the community and everybody in it has the food they need to thrive. Whereas food banks across the country, including the CAPK Food Bank, will host numerous events throughout the month of September to bring awareness and help end hunger in Kern County. Now, therefore, the Ridgecrest City Council hereby proclaims September 2024 as Hunger Action Month in recognition of the hard work and dedication throughout the community. Proclaimed this 4th day of September 2024 and signed by Mayor Eric Braun, Councilman Kyle Blades, Councilman Scott Heyman, Councilman Solomon Rajaratnam, forgive me, please, and myself, who is, come on up, Eric.
CAPK representatives.
I didn't hear that last name.
Bravo. Feel free to say something. Please come up if you'd like to say something.
You must talk. You've talked well. I've heard you before. He's going to take our picture. Look at that guy.
Good
Take it.
evening. Thank you. I would like to introduce you to Kelly, Director of the Food Bank, who's going to say a few words.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kelly Lowry. I'm the Food Bank Program Administrator for the CAPK Food Bank. And I just want to first say thanks for giving us an opportunity to talk about Hunger Action Month very briefly. You heard in the proclamation about the need. There's 28,000 residents of Ridgecrest, and the numbers are that, as you heard, over 15% of food insecurity, and realistically, we believe anecdotally the numbers to be much higher, closer to 20 to 25% food insecurity, which means that there's about 5,600 of your neighbors who on a monthly basis lack the access to enough nutritional needs to meet the needs of their family. And so that's why at CAPK we're dedicated every single day to bringing enough resources, accessibility, and information to be able to help be the first county in America to end food insecurity. I believe it's possible, and you know how we're going to do it? We're going to do it by ending it in Ridgecrest, and we're going to do it by ending it together in partnership with some great agency partners, because we can't do it from Bakersfield. We can't do it from Bakersfield alone. We need great agency partners right here in Ridgecrest. I see that we have some of our friends here. If you're here and you're one of the agency partners that on a monthly basis you are in this community giving out food to food insecure people, would you just stand so everybody can recognize? Thank you very much. So on behalf of our Board of Directors at CAPK, our CEO, Jeremy Tobias, and all the leadership of CAPK, I just want to say thank you so much for allowing us to raise awareness around Hunger Action Month. And I want to encourage you, if this is something that you would like to put your shoulder under the load and help us to accomplish here in Ridgecrest, just know that you have partners with us, and let's strategize together to come up with a bold plan to end food insecurity here in Ridgecrest. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I have the privilege of giving the proclamation for honoring National Patriotism Week, September 9th to September 15th, 2024. This is a very fitting proclamation for this month because of the 9/11 terrorist attacks that shows the patriotism and how Americans who are ordinary people rose up to the occasion and performed and sacrificed and did extraordinary acts of heroism during the 9/11 attacks, saving many lives. So this is my honor to present this proclamation. Whereas the benevolent and protective order of Elks, through its constitution, is a patriotic order, and whereas the order promotes the ideals that the citizens of this nation live in freedom, won through the great sacrifices and many tribulations which have provided the foundation for a free, prosperous, and independent life. And whereas we realize that each generation must work to maintain this freedom, otherwise, through carelessness or indifference, the rights and liberties enjoyed by many may vanish. And whereas it is fitting and proper to recognize this freedom and to honor the nation which provides it. Now, therefore, the Ridgecrest City Council, in recognition of this event, does hereby proclaim the week of September 9th through 15th, 2024, as National Patriotism Week. During this event, we urge all citizens to join with the benevolent and protective order of Elks in expressing gratitude for the privilege of American citizenship with appropriate celebrations and observances. Proclaimed this 4th day of September 2024, signed by Mayor and all council members. Now I request Elks representatives to step forward. It's my honor to present this to you.
Thank
My
you.
favorite group.
Thank you.
You want to say some few words?
On behalf of Ridgecrest Lodge number 1913, we'd like to thank the City Council as well as the council members for this issuance of this proclamation. We also have an essay contest going on through the schools. I delivered them personally last Friday, and it's what does patriotism mean to me? And we'd like for the schools to participate, so I went visiting all of them. But Elks is an organization where a lot of emphasis is placed on Americanism. And we also place a lot of emphasis on being benevolent to the community. We give out a lot of funds to service organizations that come to us seeking support. And we do that through our bingo. And so it's Thursday night, doors open at 6. Same as work. Okay, so also with me, I have our exalted ruler, our president, Kathy.
And let's not forget Saturday, the parade of 1,000 flags.
Thank you. Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you.
And good afternoon, and it's my honor to present for the pact. And so I guess as I start reading this, if you guys don't mind coming up, or it could just be one representative, I don't know if you all want to come up, but I think it'd be great if you all did to get a picture. Yep. So whereas the organization, Police and Community Together, PACT, was founded and formed in 1991 and is a nonprofit organization that provides volunteer services to the Ridgecrest Police Department, community crime prevention, and health safety services. And whereas PACT has approximately 440 total volunteers since 1991, with a current total of 76 volunteers, PACT and Animal Welfare, that have provided a total of 277,908. So I'm going to say that again. 277,908 hours since 1991. And whereas PACT benefits the community and police department in such areas as, but not limited to, administrative support, child ID, graffiti task force, assist with crime scenes, transports, traffic control, security, surveillance, subpoena service, emergency operations center, nuisance abatement, neighborhood watch, animal welfare, police car maintenance, chaplain program. And I'm going to stop at the list right there. And thank you. Because that's a lot, and you guys are needed. Whereas the dedicated men and women of PACT unceasingly provide vital public services 24 hours a day to the community of Ridgecrest. Now, therefore, the Ridgecrest City Council does proclaim September 1st through September 7th, 2024 as PACT Appreciation Week in the city of Ridgecrest in honor of the PACT volunteers, past and present, who have rendered a dedicated service to the community. Proclaim this 4th day of September 2024, Mayor Eric Bruin and the rest of the council. Thank you, guys.
Good evening, and I'd like to thank everybody for their support. We're a very busy organization, and we do appreciate your support and look forward to continue serving it. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna keep it quiet, so.
No, you're not getting out of pictures. You don't get out of pictures around here. Kyle read it, that's why I was, because we did them individually. I don't know. We're letting Kyle do it. No, we're getting there. I get to do the last proclamation of the night, and there are a couple people that he didn't get up, and I know why, but I do want to acknowledge Mr. Tom Wicknick, who's another member of the PACT, who does many and many hours of volunteerism. Thank you for what you do for this community, sir. We get the unique one. There's a stack, if you guys see this thickness here, and I get to read the first one, but I get to start by reminding everyone that, you know, the service clubs in this town are the gateway to standing up here. It really is. The service clubs in this town are the most incredible group of organizations that you could ever possibly imagine. And before I ever read this proclamation, I know the number of clubs that I have worked with for many, many years, over my 21 years in this community. And I can tell you that the lifeblood of Ridgecrest and the motto of Ridgecrest, taking care of Ridgecrest, comes from our service clubs. So before I say anything else, thank you guys for everything you've done and everything you've done to ever help us to be in the roles to be able to support you. So thank you. So now I get to read a proclamation of the City of Ridgecrest, California, for Service Clubs Month for September 2024. And then what I would like to do is ask Stephanie Hudson with the Rotary Club to come up here and join me. Come on up. Because I'm going to read a whereas, and then the Rotary Club is going to do something a little different. So, whereas service clubs in the Indian Wells Valley are organizations, she's like trying to figure out where to be. Here, I'll go this way, and you go this way, and we'll play dancing. Hey, I broke a building yesterday. I'm in a great mood. Whereas service clubs in the Indian Wells Valley are organizations that engage in community service, charitable work, and fundraising. These clubs have been an integral part of the Valley for over 70 years and have made significant contributions to the development of our communities. And whereas service clubs play a vital role in community development by providing resources and services to support local communities, they contribute to various community projects, such as doing road cleanup, installing benches, bike racks, supporting educational programs, and providing scholarships. And whereas these clubs engage in various charitable works, such as donating to food banks, to the Salvation Army, and disaster relief efforts. And whereas service clubs provide leadership development opportunities for their members and provide avenues to learn about leadership skills, team building, and communication, assisting them in their personal and professional lives. And whereas these clubs offer networking opportunities for members where they can interact with other professionals and community leaders, build relationships, and expand their social and professional networks. And whereas service clubs also focus on developing the skills and talents of young people, they provide mentoring, leadership training, and scholarship opportunities for students and organize programs to support youth. And whereas these clubs encourage civic engagement by promoting volunteering and community service. Now, therefore, the Ridgecrest City Council does hereby designate September 2024 as Service Clubs Month in appreciation for all the significant contributions these organizations make to our communities. Proclaim this 4th day of September 2024, signed by myself and my fellow council members. And once again, thank you to all of our clubs for everything they do. And I will now let Stephanie proceed with the remainder.
So my name is Stephanie Hudson, and I'm here tonight representing the Rotary Club of China Lake, where I serve as Director of Community Service. I want to start off by saying thank you to Mayor Brune and all City Council and staff for allowing me to speak about something that I'm truly passionate about, and something that's a true passion of mine and of every Rotarian, which is service above self. Since 1989, service above self has been the principal motto of Rotary because it best conveys the philosophy of unselfish volunteer service. And there are many members of the audience here tonight and throughout our community who believe in that same philosophy and dedicate themselves to it. Our Rotary District 5240 has named September the month of service, and it's why we have invited so many of our community members from local service clubs and organizations to join me and my fellow Rotarians at this meeting tonight. It's evident to me as I look around that two words are a quintessential part of what makes Ridgecrest great and define all of us here: community and service. So many of us here tonight contribute much of our time and energy in a variety of ways to help Ridgecrest and its people thrive, and I know that we are all proud to call this city our home. I'm pleased to share and promote this Rotary Month of Service with our fellow service clubs and organizations throughout the community, and tonight we are very honored to be able to have representatives from 10 local clubs attend to share in this recognition from the city. Although some of them were so busy helping others that they could only be here in community service spirit. So I'd like to ask the representatives who were able to attend to please stand as I call out your club's name and send up one representative as well. So,
I'll play your hand around.
oh, but thank you.
Okay? I'll be your distributor.
Great. Okay, first one, Rotary Club of China Lake. Please stand and send forward a representative. Or Mary, you can sit. You wanna come, David? Yeah.
We're going to take one from each because we're going to have you guys all take a photo up front.
Okay. Oh, stay there? Okay. All right. Also, IWV Rotary Club, unfortunately, they weren't able to be here in person, so we'll hold on to that one.
Okay?
Elks.
Thank you, ma'am.
What a privilege.
Kiwanis, unfortunately, they were, unless someone's surprising me, they were unable to attend today too. Okay.
There is a Kiwanian. He's
Oh.
in the back on the left in a white shirt.
Oh, yay. Great. Okay.
Thank you, Gina.
Always point to the husband, yeah. Lions. There we go. Like you had to sit the furthest away. Just saying. And Moose. Moose. Hi. and Salvation Army. And VFW. And last alphabetically, Wacom. And as you can see, when the service clubs get together, we make things possible and take up lots of seats. Thank you all for your support of this town and its people and all that you do throughout the year and year after year. And finally, I'd like to say thank you, Mayor, for honoring us all with the city's recognition and showing your continued support of these service clubs. Thank you.
Yeah, Stephanie, you're coming up for a picture. Yeah, you're not gonna escape. You don't get escape. No escape for you. No, everyone can for this one.
You can have it.
I like our crowd effect. There's a big open. No, come on, somebody get them here.
Come on, Councilwoman, go. Smile like you're having fun.
Go ahead. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I just didn't see it in time.
Looks great, yeah.
I've got to learn to say, and the rest of the town.
Thank you again to all of our service clubs. We'll give it just a quick second. I know that many of them have things to get to, and we appreciate all the time and effort you put into this community. We'd love for you to stick around, but we also understand completely. And we wish you all a wonderful evening, and thank you for your service to this community.
There they are. See, there's so many of us.
Oh my gosh, where'd everybody go?
It's okay.
Apple pie.
Lots of good people still here. Okay. Well, thank you for that. And again, that was wonderful for all of our service clubs. We'll go ahead and move on with our next part of our agenda. That'll be public comment of items not on the agenda. Persons wishing to address the council on items that are within the council's jurisdiction and do not already appear on the agenda may do so at this time. Council will not respond to any public comments, but may provide direction to staff to collect information. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the City Council may not act on item that does not appear on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes. And the public comment section of the agenda is limited to 1 hour. Each speaker is asked to provide his or her name, and we'll begin with public comment from the floor. Is there any public comment from the floor? I don't see any. Is there any public comment on the phones? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to council announcements. Next item is council announcements or direction. Anything from you? Anything from anybody?
Yes, just real quick, I want to make the community aware that the Viewfinders are having their Grand Prix September 28th and 29th. So September 28th and 29th at the Desert Empire Fairgrounds, Viewfinders are having their Grand Prix. So, and I think that you guys will probably carry the rest of the items we have there. We have a lot stacked up this
We
month.
do have we've got plenty in here.
Yeah.
Any other council comments? The only one I was going to do is just a quick comment for Anybody who hasn't attended one of our city org meetings or been in part of the conversations about implementation of SB 1383, one of the things that we're required to do in that is food recovery. And you heard tonight the proclamation regarding the hunger issue through Kern County. And we haven't got it finalized, but we're getting very close to being able to finalize an agreement that's going to provide a refrigerated food truck to the Salvation Army to replace theirs. And so they have the ability to be able to recover food from restaurants and be able to still provide distribution channels for those in need in our community. And they left too soon for me to thank them, but the Nobles have been incredible partners with this community for the last several years, and they've been working this with the city. And hopefully we're soon that we can get this finalized, but it's something that we've been working on. And when I heard the hunger and I heard the service clubs and I see all these things together, I just really wanted to share with the community some of the things that we've been working on that hasn't been said out. You know, it's been talked in committee meetings, but hasn't gotten to the dais yet to make sure that they were aware. With that, the only other thing I was going to mention again is that anybody who's anybody, I hope to see you there with a flag in hand Saturday morning, 9 a.m. for the Parade of 1,000 Flags. What I truly believe is one of our most unique community events in this community is the parade, and I hope to see so many of you there. There's nothing more powerful than seeing this, seeing 1,000 people march with flags down China Lake Boulevard and how it brings our community together. So freedom and unity, incredible things that we have in this community. So I hope to see you guys there. Any other council comments? Seeing none, we'll go on.
Yep, one more.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
sorry, sir.
I'm sorry. So this Friday is the open house for the police.
Good job.
Yep, so at 6 o'clock, right, Captain? Yep, so 6 o'clock this Friday.
And
If
then-
you're on social media, it's all over the police page, Ridgecrest page, so
And then there's movies in the park following it with bad guys.
bad guys.
Bad guys. So
How
police,
perfect.
police department open house followed by a heist movie. Perfect. But it's animals, so we get away with it a little bit. So thank you for that, Mr. Blades. Next item on our agenda is our consent calendar. All items listed on the consent calendar are considered to be routine and non-controversial by city staff. Consent items may be approved by one motion. If no member of the council or audience wishes to comment or ask questions, if comment or discussion is desired by anyone, the item will be removed from the consent calendar and will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the city council concerning the item before action is taken. I'll now read our two consent items. First is proposed action to approve the draft minutes of the Ridgecrest City Council regular meeting dated August 21st, 2024. And second is a resolution approving the project list for fiscal year 2024-2025 for the California State of Good Repair Program. The following project, electric transit van replacement. Does any member of the council wish to have an item pulled? Does any member of the public wish to have an item pulled? Hearing none, do I have a motion for approval of the consent calendar as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and second.
Please vote. 5 ayes, motion carries.
Perfect. Rick, and now would be a good time. Matt.
No, not here yet. Keep
Oh,
going.
I was just making sure.
Thank you, sir.
I'm just making sure that I'm watching the agenda at this point.
Yep. you're
We have
good.
one gentleman that is at practice who's coming in for one of the items, and we're just trying to be accommodating for him if we have to move the agenda around. Next item is item number 3. Item number 3 is a resolution of the Ridgecrest City Council approving a purchase and sale agreement for the purchase of 243 Balsam Street, APN 067-19605, and determination of CEQA exemption pursuant to section 15325 and 15601. Ms. Spurlock.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Forgive me for my voice this evening, but this is a vacant parcel on Balsam Street. It is a little over 7,000 square feet. This is the aerial view. This property is zoned commercial service, and it has a general plan designation of commercial downtown. The asking price is $65,000 plus 50% of the fees. So California Government Code requires that any land acquired by the city is approved consistent with the general plan by the Planning Commission. This item went to Planning Commission last month, and Planning Commission did make the determination that the proposed use, which is a public use, public park, is consistent with the general plan. The downtown commercial zoning or general plan designation does permit public use as an authorized use. In addition, all of the policies that you see here are general plan policies from the general plan adopted in 2009 that are consistent with the city acquiring this property. This is a view of the site as it currently is. It is just dirt and there is some debris. As we all know, the city has been doing events on Balsam Street. This is a view of the Night on Balsam, and it also shows that same vacant, underutilized property. The intent would be that it's a, pocket park. Any future development would require coming back to council with proposed plans and any kind of public input of what the public would like to see in that spot. But right now, this is a view. So the resolution before you tonight is just asking for the city manager to authorize the purchase and sale agreement and also making a finding that the purchase of property for public use as a public park is exempt from CEQA.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. We'll go ahead and begin with council comments. I want to go ahead and just highlight for a couple just quick facts, just people are aware, is, we've been working towards improving downtown Ridgecrest and the Balsam area now for, since Measure P passed, and then also strategically, there are multiple other possible avenues and opportunities that the city's pursuing to be able to redevelop that area. And one of those grants requires us to have skin in the game. And if you think about that from a simple terms, that means that you have to own something in the area you're trying to develop. Well, right now we don't own anything on Balsam, which makes it a challenge for some of the grant aspects to be able to be applied for. And so I'm going to answer the very simple question that many people are asking, which is the why. And it's a two-factored why. First, it's a great spot, okay, for what we've been doing. It really helps us to bring in shade, the three S's, shade, seating, and stage. And it lets us put those three things into that area so that we don't just have to wait around for when we do city events on Balsam, but we can allow other businesses to do smaller events on Balsam as they should choose, where we don't have to close the road, but they can also help to stimulate their business environments and encourage participation. We've also seen the development of food trucks around Flight Tap Room in the area. That gives another area for people to come out in the community where maybe they're not waiting for a Booze Off Balsam, by the way, October 26th. We're looking forward to seeing everyone there. Or a Trunk or Treat, October 25th. Looking forward to seeing everyone there. But the bottom line is that these are ways we can actually empower the community to do more things for themselves. And when you think about where it situates inside Balsam, it's going to be very, very apt for what we're trying to do. We have committed to making Ridgecrest better. For the last couple of years, you've seen more work in this town than you've seen in years. And we're going to continue that process. And this is a great additional opportunity for us to be able to connect the downtown area with the entertainment side that we're hoping to build into there. And that just gives you a very simple why. We need skin in the game. And this was a perfect opportunity to gain part of that. So with that, I will offer any other council comments or questions.
Oh, no, just a quick comment. I think I understand the why. And a lot of that is in all interactions with the public, at least that I've had personally, online, whether it be through, we do polls, asking the community what they think, what they want, what they're looking for. There's a pretty common thread, and that thread is, thank you for moving forward. Thank you for trying to improve, keep things moving. Thank you for trying to make Ridgecrest look better. These are things we want to see. It is very rare that I hear people say, we're not a fan of what's going on right now. And that's okay. If that dissent's an important part of the government, I like that. I'm a big fan. But if what I can't consistently hear out of the community, the people that talk to me, is we love everything that's going on, we want this to keep going, and this type of thing, this revitalization, works right into it's a common thread of what we've been doing. And so that makes me feel more comfortable with a decision like this. So I can have more comments later. This is something that I think makes sense. I'm open to any other council comments or objections.
Thanks, Heather, for bringing this to us. I really appreciate that. As Mayor and Vice Mayor said, this is a fitting piece of land for what we are doing on Balsam Street. We want to expand the community activities, and so this will be very useful for us to expand what we have started on, what the community has been liking. So I really appreciate this for looking into this and bringing this to City Council's approval. So I'm totally in for buying this piece of land. I do have some concerns, which I'll address later on after hearing the public comments. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Raymond or Mr. Gorman?
I just want to say, about, I think it was summer before last, my wife and I were traveling, and we went through Durango, Colorado. And we wanted to stop through the town and get a bite to eat. And so we were looking for a place to eat, and everything was kind of busy, and we were walking down the old Main Street district, and they had an area that was very similar to what we see on Balsam Street, where there was a building must have been removed, but it had a vacant lot, and they had turned that lot into a like a social gathering food court type of a setting. And so we chose to eat there, and it was quite nice. There were some trees. There was, it was people. They had the 2 or 3 gourmet food trucks or other restaurants, in and around. And you could tell it was a lot of the locals. It was a great kind of moving and gathering and eating place. And so when this thought came about, I immediately returned to thinking about that spot up there, and what a nice feature it is for that city. And if we can have something similar and that people can go and enjoy, I think it's a great attribute for the city. That's it.
Okay. With that, we'll go ahead and open up to public comment. We'll first go public comment from the phone, since I see I have somebody there. We'll go ahead and start with the phones. Caller, go ahead. Caller?
I heard it go.
Okay, okay. Caller, if you were calling, feel free to call back. I will circle around if the lights back up. Is there any public comment from the floor?
Good evening, Council. Tom Wicknick. And from hearing the comments already, it sounds like I'm probably wasting my time coming up here, but I'll make them anyway. All right, let's talk about having skin in the game. Let's talk about corporate history. The corporate history right now on the City Council is not really strong about the city and the years gone by, except Skip's been around a long time, but I'll bring back one. When we decided to build this complex here, and we're going to talk about skin in the game. When we decided to build this complex here and we started the RDA, a portion of the plan for this facility, the Kerr-McGee Center, City Hall, et cetera, was to have a tie-in to Balsam Street from our parking lot through the building that is over here that has had a radio station in it and other things. The Bamboo Club used to be there. Well, it's gone now. Well, and there was a reason for tying that in. And tying that in would be give a way to bring Balsam Street into the city complex. At the same time, giving the police department an exit corridor from the parking lot that would go into the north and possibly east side of the city without having to go down through California. A quicker exit out of the compound here that we have. Now, I'm not speaking for the police department. Understand that right now. I'm talking about corporate history, what we discussed back when this building was built. And we hoped that someday the city would buy that building, tear it down, and bring in Balsam Street into the parking lot. And I still think the city should do that. All right, now let's go back to possibly this piece of property. You're talking about buying a piece of property that was bought before the city was even incorporated, been around a long time, and it's never been able to be sold apparently, and now you're going to bail somebody out at $65,000. I know that's fair market value. I heard the words. But let's talk about fair market value on another occurrence, and I'm going to try and get real quick because that clock's running fast. Back in the 80s when I was on the council, we had Upjohn and Norma, where we had a dogleg there for a long time of 4 lanes, went into 2 lanes and back out to 4 lanes. And we had property owners that refused to give the property to the city to widen Upjohn to 4 lanes. And they said they didn't want to pay for it and they didn't want to sell it. In other words, the city was in a position where we might have to use eminent domain to get that land to use it as a thoroughfare for the road in Ridgecrest. The council at the time, which I was on, said, we're given a report that the property owners are going to do nothing to help the city. And I asked the council to give me permission to go out and talk to those people and represent the city to try and reach an agreement, negotiate. I did that, and the council gave me that authority to go out and do that. And the result of that conversation I had with them was they wound up actually giving the city the land free of charge. They gave us the right of way. All the city had to do was pay for them to do a parcel map to re-parcel the properties that adjoined that area. That's all we had to do, and do the curb and gutter. There was no eminent domain expense, no buying of land. We didn't have to pay anybody off, and we got it for free. Now, I'm not saying that we need this for free, but this comes out of nowhere. I have not heard anybody saying, we got an idea, let's have a park on Balsam Street, okay? Like, this just comes out of nowhere, boom, here. And now it appears to be decided. You probably talked about an executive session, my only guess is, because it involved negotiations. We weren't privy to any negotiations, we the people. And yet it's already approved, almost approved. You got the price figured out, you got everything done. And now we finally get a chance to come up and offer an opinion. Like I said, this stuff about, when we were talking about eminent domain, it was in public. When we were talking about buying property in the old days, it was in public from the podium, so the people could know we are interested in buying some property, so that everybody knew, not just dropped, and here it is. We're buying this 7,000 square foot lot, 65,000 is fair market value. I think it's a good idea. We have a pocket park down there. I think that $65,000, even though it's fair market value, is a mistake and shouldn't be paid for that kind of bailing somebody out of a piece of property that they have refused for all these years to develop. They could have developed that. They've refused to. So now we're going to bail them out for $65,000.
Is there any other public comment from the floor? Seeing none, I think I've got my caller back on the phone. Caller, go ahead.
So Riley's shaking his head no, and he texted me and he said what's happening is the call is coming in as unknown, so the system is not letting him transfer it into our system. So the caller needs to unblock their number or try a different phone or whatever, because for some reason that's not allowing it to come in.
Okay. Caller, I'm not sure if you can hear exactly what's happening, but you've got a block on your phone that is not permitting it into our system. We certainly are more than willing to accommodate your comments, and we'll give it another second here to see if that call coming in. Can we go ahead, caller, go ahead?
Nope, not there.
No. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring it back to council. I will try and keep my eye on it. If the call should pop up, I do want to at least give them the chance to be heard. We're trying to be patient as much as we can be. It appears that there's a technical problem with how their phone is calling in. We apologize for that. As always, being present at the meeting, we'd love to have you here. We'd always welcome you. We'll bring it back to council, and with any further discussion, is there any other council discussion? I know Mr. Rajaratnam.
Go ahead, Solomon.
Ms. Parla, so as I said, I like this proposal, but are you involved in the price negotiation? Who is involved in that?
So what happened was our agent, real estate agent, approached the property owner without disclosing that it was the city to maintain that there was an interested party so that it wouldn't increase the price potentially, knowing that the city was interested rather than just another individual. So that was how it was proceeded.
So we don't have an appraisal, right? Without that, how do we know
No,
this
we
is the
did
right
not.
price?
No, we
Yeah.
did not get an appraisal. We did use our standard realtor that does our commercial real estate, and so he does the market value with the appraisal, but not a full appraisal, sorry, but he does the.
So this is
estimation.
7,000 square feet piece of land, and we are paying 65,000, which is like almost 9.5 per square feet. So which seems to be high to me. When I looked up other comps, for example, Desert Valley recently bought the land for $3 something. So in that scenario, why are we paying double the amount to get this piece of land, not even having a appraisal? I'm a commercial lender, so I look into all these things. So that's the question. So what my proposal is, I think we should go back and get an appraisal or get some comps to justify the price and bring it back to us for voting.
If I may, can I add to that? So recently, if council remembers, we went through negotiations and got an appraisal for commercial real estate on Norma and Felspar. So we could put Felspar through. It was for, if I remember right, and I'm speaking off the top of my head, it was about 1,900 square feet and change, and the appraisal came back at $31,000 and change. So the sellers agreed to basically sell us the land for, call it fair market value or the appraised value for vacant commercial property. So, and if my math is right, I believe it's actually higher than what you're seeing here with this proposal. The other thing I do want to add too is just that this is the last real vacant piece of property on Balsam. So I think the council is being fiscally responsible and not going after a building that's going to cost taxpayers a lot more money to demolish. As we know, we're demolishing the pool, that's $325,000. Those buildings were built prior to the pool. The abatement fees that you would have for things like that, and I would bet that a lot of the reason why you're not seeing things being built is because of some of the age of the buildings around it. They can't make it pencil out. So really, in my opinion, I feel it's a great and beneficial use to the public because we're completing that stretch.
Yeah, I have seen comps for the last 3 years. None of the commercial lands were sold for more than $5, $6 per square feet. So my point is, our citizens have elected us. We have a fiduciary responsibility. They trust us with the money. So we should take right decisions, follow the due diligence process, get an appraisal, make sure it is worth that much. If it is not worth that much, then why are we paying? Justify why we are paying more in that case. So my request is to go back and get an appraisal and bring it back to us so that we have some data we can rely on to approve what you are requesting for.
I hear what
There
you're
is
saying.
no immediate urgency. We are not going to do anything for that.
Hun-
And another
100%.
point I want to make is, the seller bought this piece of land for $40,000 2 years back.
Yeah, 45.
And he is selling for $65,000. It's a 44% jump in the price cost he's asking for. So these are all the concerns I have. So we need to talk more about this.
And
It's a small amount, and it's a good cause. I totally agree with that. But we should be good stewards of the public money, so we need to make sure we are doing this in the right way.
And I agree with what you're saying. I just want to caution you that an appraisal may end up costing the city
that's what I was
more
gonna-
money.
That would be my question, is I know, we both know that commercial appraisal is not a cheap process. It's also not a expedited process. The problem is that the likelihood is we're going to see two things that could very potentially backfire on this, which is first, you've now created a demand
I mean, we don't have to fear about all those things, Mayor, you know, so.
I mean, I personally fear
Yeah.
them. And then the second is, you're talking at least 10% of the total cost. I mean, $6,500 is not unreasonable for what the cost of the appraisal is going to be. And with the hookups already in place, with the water and power already there, with the process that we've been going in terms of getting the events up, I don't think we're overpaying by a factor that creates a sense of urgency for me in terms of I'm spending good money to chase a discount. And that's what concerns me, is spending more money in order to chase what may be no reduction. So we're going to end up spending $75,000 in order to determine that the price point of $65,000 was fair. Now, that's me personally, that's one opinion.
Correct,
And
yeah.
that's what's great about having respectful differences of opinion, is that we can all say that. For me, I look at the time value over the detail value in something like this personally, but I'll share other people's opinions.
So if my numbers come up right, I think the previous, the owner of the property paid $642. We're looking at $9.2. I think if you factor the fact that there's not another location on Balsam Street that's cost effective, and if we look at factoring in other monies with an appraisal, and, you know, it's going to bring that 6.42 up to, I don't know, probably not that much, but it's not going to be 6.42. It's going to be, you know, add up, divide 7,000 by whatever the cost of that appraisal is. But, so, not to argue with you, because you are a numbers man and banker, not me. But I come up with, you know, more like a 30% difference. So, based on location, availability, other avenues that we might look at, I think this is very reasonable in the price factor. I don't think the city could get hurt in it if down the road we decided, you know what, it's not working out and somebody would like to put a building on there and we can sell it. If it came to that, I'm pretty sure we could get pretty close to our money back out of it. So I don't see it as a huge economical stress on this. But
Martin has some.
Yes, sir.
Council is considering whether or not to look into an appraisal, I think that one of the factors that should be considered is whether or not the seller will, let's say it comes in at $57,000. Will the seller agree to sell it at that price? So I know there have been negotiations going on. We have talked to the council about this in closed session. This is the number that's been arrived through negotiations. So if we are going to consider delaying the transaction and potentially getting an appraisal, if that is an avenue that the council is looking at, I would recommend that we also have an opportunity to talk with the seller whether or not he's agreeable to paying, to accepting an appraised price.
I mean, if you're waiting for my comment, without data, you know, my conscience would not allow me to vote for yes for this, because we are paying $65,000, which was sold for $40,000 2 years back. And then market data doesn't support more than $5 per square feet, and we want to pay 9.5 per square feet. So those are the reasons, those are the concerns I have. And we don't have an appraisal, so we are not able to make any judicious decision.
Mr. Blades or Mr. Gorman? If you have nothing, that's fine.
No,
Well-
I have thoughts, but I want to hear everybody else's. And you have
I'm
a caller.
sitting up
Oh,
here
did the
with,
caller, did the caller come back? Oh, Ellen, I apologize, I did not notice that. Thank you, Martin. I'm going to go ahead and pause. This would be unusual, but I did say that if that caller came back, I would certainly give them the opportunity. Caller, are you on the phone? I did. I made a third effort. For anybody who noticed, I made 3 concerted efforts. Okay, Mr. Gorman.
thank you. I'm sitting up here at sea, so to speak, with a couple of bankers, a lawyer, folks who have a lot more experience in these things than I do, but I do understand in the short time I've been up here that issues that involve discussions of property value pending a sale and personnel issues happen in closed session. We're sort of doing property price negotiations right now. I'm wondering, Councilman Raj, what can you recommend in deferring this issue? What data would we be seeking to cover again?
Primarily getting an appraisal, which will not cost 6,000 as mentioned. It will be around 2,000 because it's a piece of land.
Sounds reasonable.
Mr. Blades.
Yeah, over the city staff, what is the danger, since we're now we're now going back and forth in public, which I think we all know is not a great idea. What could happen? Could the price change?
I think Martin said it accurately, is that if it is appraised, we will spend that money to go through with the appraisal, and that does not mean that the seller is going to entertain our offer.
Yeah, okay.
And just to clarify one point that was raised, a fair market value purchase is not legally required under these circumstances. In other words, should the council decide that there is a public benefit to acquiring this property, even if it is priced over market value, the council has the ability and the right to make that decision if they feel that the purchase of that property is going to benefit the public in the future.
Okay, good. No, thank you. So I think if the price was exorbitant, if it was over a price that we wouldn't have, so we as a council would have already cut that. There was a line already. We already knew that there was a range of dollars that this could meet, and there's a reason why we set that line. We understood that an appraisal aside, so I'm not going to argue with your guys' expertise, which I respect to death. I'm just going to say that anybody out in the market knows right now that the market bears what the market bears, and Balsam is. There's nothing else sitting there to complete and be a part of the general plan and a part of what we're trying to do here. So yeah, of course I'm leaning towards, I'd love to see it happen because that's what we're being asked to do on a pretty consistent basis. Not sit around in inaction, but to act and to move forward with the best, with the best information we have possible. So I guess that's really all I have. It's not an easy thing. I understand what you're saying, Solomon.
Sure. I mean, I totally understand what you're saying, but here we are dealing with public money. We should think whether I would do that if I am buying that land.
I think that if I was going to buy a piece of land, whether it's the money coming out of my pocket and I walk up and I get an appraisal, whatever that the market still bears, you still have to. If you want that piece of land, you got to pay what they're asking for it. And we already as a council decided we know we're not going to go over too much. We know there's going to be a line. We're being responsible with the taxpayer dollars. So that's why, because you brought up, hey man, I want to make sure I'm being responsible with public's money. That's how I feel. We sat around and had discussions in closed session.
I did just want to throw in and clarify, give you guys a couple more pieces of information. The land did sell 2 years ago for $45,000, and based on what I could find on a quick search on my phone for you, the average cost of a commercial property appraisal in California is $4,000.
We can value back and forth. The bottom line is, we're going to spend a few bucks to satisfy it, or there's a majority consensus to move forward. It's going to be, that's where we're kind of stand. And that's a very good conversation. I mean, one of the best things about that we've had on this council is that we can have conversations that maybe aren't always in agreement, but are generally always moving for the best interest of the citizens, which I appreciate about Councilman Rajaratnam. And trust me, it's not the first time we've disagreed.
Yeah,
with
don't
that.
get me wrong,
Yeah.
I'm for buying this piece of land for our community development purpose. There is no doubt about that. My only concern is my fiduciary responsibility and stewardship of public money.
Perfectly fair. With that, do I have a motion for approval of the resolution to purchase the 234 Balsams to APN 0671965?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and second.
Please vote. We have 4 ayes with 1 no being Mr. Rajaratnam. Motion does carry.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you, Heather. Item number 4. Item number 4 is a resolution to approve a concession trailer donation agreement between the City of Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley Youth Football and Cheer League.
Good evening, council. Tonight I bring to you a concession trailer that the City Parks and Rec Department purchased back in 2014. Here's a picture of what I'm talking about.
Oh, now I know what it looks like.
So I've worked for the city for 8 years, and in that 8 years, this trailer has been used by primarily IWV Youth Football League. We did allow the Youth Softball League to use it their very first year on our fields, and it hasn't been used in 2 years. It currently just sits at the maintenance shop, unused. In that time period when no one's using it, things are rotting, tires, whatever else, just from it sitting there in the sun and the heat. And we believe that it would be more beneficial for the IWV Youth Football and Cheer League to take ownership of this snack trailer. The IWV Football League has been a local nonprofit corporation that's been providing youth football and cheer services to families of the Indian Wells Valley, including the City of Ridgecrest, for many years. They use a lot of their funds with fundraising and selling concessions during their games and practices, help them to do that. So I'm here today asking council to approve for the city manager to finalize the negotiation and contract to donate this snack trailer to the Indian Wells Valley Youth Football League. And they are here in attendance with us and would like to come up and say a few words, if that's okay.
Yeah, please do. Come on up.
Howdy. Good evening, council. My name is Matt Bird. I'm the president of IWV Youth Football and Cheer. And just like Ms. Narissa said, we've been around for a long time. I actually grew up playing in the same league 20 years ago. So we do try really hard to, benefit the community. Concessions. Ms. Markel Griffin is here with me tonight. She actually runs our concessions. It generates a lot of money. Currently, it's about 40% of our revenue every year. So getting the snack trailer is going to help us expand that and do better for these kids. Part of the money that we use it for is, sponsorships for a lot of families that can't afford to pay the registration fees, which we all know the cost of doing business is going up. So we're constantly battling that, and, concessions, we wouldn't have a season without it. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Griffin, do you have anything? No? Okay.
So I got to ask the obvious question right away. I mean, there's going to be something on that says graciously donated by.
Yeah, we can have something put on there.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm a marketer. I mean,
Would you guys
I'm
be
not going to
okay
lie.
with-
I mean, I'm going to say, if you get your.
Yeah, I can send you over a graphic if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, not the seal, not the seal, because we don't own it, but just, it could even be text and I would be perfectly happy, but, you know, I like to, you know, when we put something out into the community, I think this is a smart idea, okay? Let's be frank in the room for a second, okay? I had to ask about this trailer in quality of life yesterday. I said, we have a concessions trailer? That was my exact first response. And then it was purchased in 2010 or 2014, sorry, okay? So it was a decade old, and I said, how often are we using it? It's not being used right. Okay, so I look at something like this that is sitting out in the sun. I know what the sun does to big equipment. I'm dealing with that daily now. And I know what it does to tire rot. I know what it does to other things. I said, so what was last time? She says, well, last time we brought it out, we had to fix the tires, and we had to get this fixed, and we had to get that fixed. If it can be used for our youth in a way that's beneficial to our kids and relieves a burden of a 10-year-old piece of equipment that's sitting in the yard not being used, then we're making the right decision. I understand, you know, that the fiscal hawks can, you know, wasteful spending, and why did we do this in 14? Well, a decade ago, I barely had my first kid. A lot of things change. The 1980s was a long time ago. Things change. And so the fact is that what's happening is, why are we holding on to something that could be put to productive use for somebody else if we're not using it? I think that's perfectly the key answer is if we were running it out every single Saturday and making, you know, we were doing concessions all around town as the city of Ridgecrest, we wouldn't be having this conversation, but it's not. It's sitting and it's not being put to use. So why are we not putting it into the best people's hands, which is into the hands to support our youth? So I'm fully in support of this. It makes sense. I think this is a common sense type of decision for those people that, you know, scream there's not a common sense in government. You know, maybe there wasn't a common sense in buying it. You know, I can't argue that. That's 10 years ago. I wasn't here. But there's a common sense today that says, why let it sit in the sun and rot versus getting it to somebody and letting them make the best of it? So that's where I kind of stand. No, pass it to my fellow council members.
No, I can probably guess why. I think that what I've seen is volunteerism goes up and down in this community. I think it does everywhere. It's an ebb and flow. I'm guessing that it was being used a lot more back in the day when it was purchased, and at least I know that I've personally been in this thing and looked around, and sometimes it's you know, trying to rent it from the city and then clean it up and get it back. It's a process. So I know that's an ordeal. I'm curious, while I think it's a good idea, I'm curious on how you're going to use it, simply because I know there's a concession stand over near at least those practice fields already. So I'm curious on that.
Will you come up to the...
Yeah, sorry, it's a trek.
The TV can't hear you if you don't come up and talk to the microphone. Yeah,
No,
I
you're
know.
fine. But the only way you get picked up by anybody out in the public is if they can hear over the microphone.
Okay, everybody can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so the idea behind it right now is we have our cheer displaced over here in the Freedom Park area, and that's severely cut back into our profit for this year, and then that affects our next year budget, and the roll just keeps rolling on down, right? So if I can get this trailer, we can get it set up, we can get it over for the cheer families to join us in our concessions, and then help that profit be there for next year. Also, we share our field with Burroughs for our Saturday games. Currently, I take my entire snack bar over at the Matt Armstrong Fields and take it over to Burroughs and completely overturn every single Saturday that we have a game over there. It's very labor intensive, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of time. I might not always be here, so then that puts a burden on somebody else that will then have to take over that, which it's a lot, so somebody might not want to do that in the future. So with having this trailer, we could then take the trailer over there, and it would help relieve that burden as well. So
No, that all makes sense.
that was my idea behind it.
That's all logical. I understand that. I have one more question, Marissa. Thank you so much. Thank you. And that is, did you have, or do you have other organizations that were really wanting to use this? Because I know you said football primarily used it in the past.
Nobody else really has asked to use it, nor has in the past or currently. Softball did the first season that they were out there, but now they have a concession building right there by the fields. So I see it being more beneficial for football, and they're the only ones that mostly inquire about it.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, it's better to get the O&M off of the city and onto you guys. That's the truth of it. It's not a lot, you know, it's just tires and bearings, you know, you're tightening U-bolts and that kind of thing, but if it's just gonna sit there and rot. I walked through it, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while, so. It's nice. It's nice inside. It's a nice piece of equipment.
You
so.
walked through it, I didn't even know it existed.
No, I was, well, so to be transparent, I was working with the softball team. Softball team was concerned, same concerns. We don't have a concession stand. We'd like to make some money, and they ended up not pulling the trigger on it because they just didn't have the people, the funding. It just wasn't working out, and they never revisited. And now that there is a concession stand there, no longer a need. So this makes sense.
I would also just like to add one thing that I think over the past 2 years, you guys as council members have been very aggressive on the things you want to see at your parks.
Yep.
So I don't think it is that far-fetched for one of their football teams or their cheer squad or one of those to be displaced yearly to Freedom Park because we are renovating a field.
It's true. Well, you're
So-
spot on.
Yes, that is
So
spot
while
on
we displace
currently.
them, they can continue
We are
making-
currently displacing everyone, and we apologize for that.
Well, no, you know what? I'm not going to apologize for it.
Well,
We're going to
I
keep
mean,
displacing and
Well,
getting stuff done.
Good point, Mr. Blades.
Yep.
Trying to be a little too much political.
I got you. Okay, sorry. All right, I'm done.
Any other comments? Okay. Is there any public comment? I see none on the floor, none on the phones. I'll bring it back to council for any final council comments. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for approval of the resolution to approve a concession trailer donation to the Indian Wells Valley Youth Football.
Mr. Mayor, before we make a motion.
Yes, sir.
There's something that I did want to ask you for the sake of the community. Sorry, it popped into my head at the wrong moment.
Okay.
Can you talk about how many families or players that you guys get to reach? You know, because you are affecting the community. I think it's important for everybody listening to this meeting to hear. It's really just PR for you guys.
Howdy again. So currently, we have a lot of kids, a lot of families. We currently have about 130 football players and 130 cheerleaders. So that's 200 kids that are out there practicing throughout the whole week and, you know, staying out of trouble.
Yep.
Yeah.
You
Well,
could not, the last words you could not have put better, staying out of trouble.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
kids, a lot of families. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it. Okay, so you made the, you put it forward, and I'm going
I
to,
was calling for a motion. I have not yet to receive a first.
I motion that we approve the resolution.
Do I-
Second.
I have a motion and a second,
I'll second.
and a third.
Please vote. 5 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you, and thank you for your service to the community. Take care of those kids. Okay, next is item number 5. Item number 5 is a resolution to accept the base bid as submitted by Griffith Company, reallocate budgeted Measure V funds for the base bid up to $69,622 for a 2% contingency, a maximum total of up to $3.402,357 to a construction contract to Griffith Company to construct the 2024 Measure V paving project and authorize the city manager, Ron Strand, to execute the contract. Mr. Reed.
Good evening, council. So as you guys all know, over the last couple of years, we put out quite a few polls to find out what matters to our community. And one of the big things that has rang true in the last
Thank you.
time that I've been here has been local roads, right? So this is our next wave of local roads. As you guys know, I'm going to say I'm being creative with budgeted funds again. We have a streets and roads claim that made it through the first step to getting approved today. It passed unanimously through the Technical Advisory Committee to the Kerncog Board. It goes to the board later on this month, at which time we will have the funds to backfeed what project I am taking from. The roads that we are doing at this time for this project are Kimberly, Broadway, American, Cottonwood, Windy Lynn, Sierra View, and a portion of Wild Rose. So it's quite a few local streets that numerous people will travel on. And the project that we are robbing some funds from is the local match that we have budgeted for the Mahan project. And I know that's a big one for the community. It's a big one for all of Ridgecrest Heights. It's a big one for me because it's one of the few roads that we have in the city that is really not wide enough for two-way traffic. And I just want to echo that this in no way will impede our progress on Mahan. Right now, we are waiting on environmental clearance and right-of-way clearance from Caltrans before we can do anything. So we are basically in a holding pattern. Given timeframes that I've seen lately with clearances for these grant projects, I would expect us to have approval of right-of-way and approval of environmental, provided they don't find any concerns that require us to do like nesting bird surveys or anything like that. December would be the earliest that I would expect that to happen. And we will have our streets and roads payment well before that. So I will be coming back to you to backfeed the budget before that project even has a chance to move forward with clearances. We're also going to steal, and I say steal, that's a poor choice of words, but we're also going to take some of the budget that I have for, we have set aside for equipment and that we had set aside for engineering services. As you guys know, we hired 2 young, very bright engineers. So our next round of Measure V is 2025 is already underway, and we are going to do it completely in-house. So the money that I had budgeted for the 2025 project, we're going to handle completely internally. So those are the 3 places that I'm asking for a total of about $802,000 to be added to this project so that we can continue with these local roads. I know when we approved Downs, this was one of the big things that I told you I want to make sure happens. So with that, I'm open for any questions.
Thank you, sir. So I'm just going to do the first comment, which everyone needs to hear, is we are continuing to move forward. That's the messaging here, is we have a choice of how long we want to wait on the bureaucracy or how much we want to keep moving ourselves forward. And we've got the opportunity to move forward, and we're going to keep pushing the roads forward. The big element here is to understand that we are saving money by improving our own skill set so that we don't have the same amount of expense in future years. And what we're doing is we're making sure that we take those budgeted funds and quickly get projects that we are ready to get going. That's the really big message, is that we're not waiting around to get projects done. I think that the biggest concern I hear more than any other one is, why does government take so long to do stuff? And, you know, I gotta tell you, elected in November 2020, and I came in, I said, we're gonna get this, and done. And yesterday, almost 4 years later, we finally got to take something to the wall of the pool. It took 4 years to get there. Bureaucracy is slow. And when we can find ways to effectively move the needle forward, and I gotta remind the community, we're able to move the needle forward because Measure V is self-funded on ourselves and Measure P is self-funded onto ourselves. We are investing directly into our community so that we can impact our community. This is another great project. Travis, thank you for the creativity that we're finding ways to get roads done. This has my full support. I understand the fiscal, issues, but I also know that you can have all the money in the world. If you're sitting around doing nothing with it, you'll be just as guilty as the person who overspent it.
One other thing I forgot to add to this is if you take a look at the 3 bids we got, the low bidder beat the second bidder by right at $500,000 and beat the third bidder by $1 million. So I think that speaks volumes to the amount of time that we've put in the contracts that Griffith's got, that they're very, very competitive and want to work for us.
They want to
So
work for us.
that's-
And a certain part of the engineer's estimates on these things were pre-inflationary too, correct? Because it takes. This project doesn't just show up here. It's been building for a good year plus.
So the engineer's estimate is the engineer's estimate that we had before I made a bunch of changes.
Right.
I'll just
that will impact it as well.
I will be real with you.
But my point being is that we're not way off on engineers' estimates. We're not way off on some of these other numbers. We're still effectively within what we're expecting to see, especially in the current cost environment.
I would say, if anything, I think the based on the numbers that I saw, I think we are competitive with the same cost that you're seeing for this size project in Bakersfield, where you would have numerous contractors bidding on it.
Right. Okay, any other council comments?
No, I like the project. I don't have any problem with that.
Solomon turns on his mic and everyone steps back for it
I have
now.
to say something, when you bring something. Your 2% is not what you put here. The calculation of 2% is coming to 66,654. You put 69.
You can't even get the math right, Travis?
So it was like 2.03 or something like that, or
Whatever you want.
Yeah, I just said a 2% and then listed the amount. So obviously, that's not our normal contingency, so I'm gonna have to tighten my belt and make sure I don't add a bunch more. But that was the funding I felt that was safe for us to give up in our budget. And whatever that contingency number was, that was the contingency number I was gonna roll with, so.
I totally
answer.
understand. And your resolution says 5%. So that
Oh,
needs to be
yep,
changed.
yep.
Okay.
Rick,
But
I
it's
didn't
right-
do
but it's
this
right-
one at midnight.
I know.
Gosh.
It's correct below there.
That's all.
Thank you.
Or 2.03. Any other council comments? Is there any public comments? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council. And do I have a motion for approval of the resolution to accept the base bid as submitted by Griffith Company for $3.4 million for the construction contract for the 2024 Measure V paving projects?
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and second.
Please vote.
Hold on, did we ask for public comment?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I did.
I just didn't remember, okay.
I asked, there's no, did I asked, didn't I?
I just didn't remember.
I mean, I may have hesitated shortly. If somebody's standing, I'll always pause.
Five ayes, motion carries.
Thank you very much. I'm glad
I
we're
was
not
too busy
here.
looking for a typo before Solomon.
I had already saw it. I was like,
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to mention
I
it.
saw it, but too little too
Watch
late.
out
We
for
love you,
Solomon's
Solomon.
typos. Next item is item number 6. Item number 6 is a resolution to accept the base bid as submitted by Nagel Earthworks, allocate budgeted Clean California Cycle 2 funds for the base bid and up to $9,010.80 for a 5% contingency, a total of $189,226.80 for construction contract to Nagel Earthworks to construct the Inyo Kern Transit Hub Improvement Project, and authorize the city manager Ron Strand to execute the contract. And this is, just before I get going, this is the surprise project, right? This is the one that we were able to grab the extra grant funds for, right?
Correct. So this is Clean California Round 2, that they didn't get enough rural transit applications, that we threw an application together for to get funds.
Great. Okay,
I'm up.
you're up.
So we received 2 bids for this project. This is a beautification project over at the Transit Hub in Inyo Kern. It includes some curb, some minor paving work, a bunch of landscape, and some drought-tolerant shrubs and rock work. We got 2 bids, one from Nagel Earthworks and one from Griffith Company. They were relatively close, and I would say this, that the one thing that I was extremely pleased to see is that our engineer's estimate that was completely in-house was actually a little bit higher than the bid we got. So we're asking to utilize the budgeted Clean California funds to pay for this, as well as approximately $2,000 from our transit travel budget to cover overages should we need it for the contingency. It's a pretty straightforward, cut and dry project. I don't think there'll be much issue with it, so. And with that, I'm open for any questions.
Thank you, sir. Is there any council comments?
No, Travis has discussed this before.
Travis didn't discuss with me, so I have a question. So where is this located?
This is off of 3rd Street in Inyo Kern. Back in 2013 or 2014, the city got a grant, I can't remember what grant it was, and it required us to open a rural transit station that would allow us to connect with Kern Transit. and with Northern Sierra, Eastern Sierra, I'm sorry. Eastern Sierra Transit, so it's our transfer station where our transit goes to, drops people off, and then they can transfer, and they can go to Randsburg, Mojave, all the way up to Bishop, Mammoth, all that good stuff, LAX, yes.
Okay, makes sense.
It's been very desolate is the word I'm gonna say. It's got a lone bathroom out there and a little shade structure and some concrete. So we felt with the grant, since it's a 100% grant, I think if we had to have a giant city contribution, I don't think we would be having this talk. I don't think I would have felt comfortable bringing it to you, so.
So will there be a restroom?
There already is an active restroom there that is self-locking, so at night, we don't have to deal with issues.
Thank you, sir.
Any other council comments? I'll just go ahead and remind everyone, if they don't remember, the Clean California Grant Program is what's doing a huge portion of the Leroy Jackson sports complex improvements, the walking path, so many of the other things that are being done in Leroy Jackson came from the Clean California Grant. When we submitted our grant, we were actually very well recognized by the Clean California program. They liked how we did it. They were very happy with everything we did. And they had a pot of money left over. And they said, nobody else applied for some of these things. And you have a transit hub, and we're willing to give you 100% coverage on beautifying that. And quite honestly, we said, well, this is a no-brainer. Why would we not? You know, first impressions matter, and whether it be somebody who's coming in on an airplane, or on a bus, how you present to your community does matter. And I have no issue with taking 100% grant, putting $2,200 in and making something equally nice for how people see and come into our community. So it seems like a great investment, a monumental return on investment type of project. So with that, is there any other any other council comments? Any public comments? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council, and I'd entertain a motion to approve the resolution to accept the base bid as submitted by Nagel Earthworks for $189,226 and award a construction contract to Nagel Earthworks to construct the In Your Current Transit Hub.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second.
Please vote. 5 ayes, motion carries.
Okay, next item is our committee reports. I hope you guys won't mind if I jump ahead and I jump over infrastructure and go straight to quality of life. Because there's 5 little golden helmets and 5 golden sledgehammers sitting down there. And Narissa, do you want to present them? Do you want me to say something? What would you like? How would you like for me to tell them? You want me to just tell them? Okay, so I did not know this, and for everyone who got a chance to join us, I know you weren't able to be there yesterday, partner, but please, at the end of the session, for each of my fellow council members from the Parks and Rec Department, please feel free to take a hat and a sledgehammer home in memory of the kickoff for Penny Pool. It was destroyed in a day.
Seconds.
It was gone. If you drive by there, it's gone. We have started the Penny Pool project. That's all I need to say. We're delivering on our promise. We're going to continue to deliver on that promise for our citizens. It was a lot of fun. I freely admit that watching Aaron's video of me love tapping the wall made me a little embarrassed. And wanted the aggressive side of me to come out next time. But the next time you're in a $100,000 piece of equipment and you don't know how to drive it, you'll be love tapping it too. Because you are not going to be the idiot that makes that type of problem for somebody. And it was very nice. I want to thank the Penny family that came out. I want to thank everyone who came out. We got a chance to talk about the pool last night at the meeting. That's how I can sneak everything into this one report for quality of life. Aw, thanks, Trav. It's very cool. I said I got a shovel from Harper Construction at one of the groundbreakings for the base, and now I get to put my shovel with my sledgehammer, and that's just I know it seems funny and goofy, but guys, we really are proud to see the Penny Pool project underway. I know our entire council shares in that pride.
if I may, I wanted to say thank you to the staff for the work, and I made sure to express any of the community members I talked to, just how hard you guys are pushing the schedule. You're running at full tilt. Everybody's aware. Thank you, Narissa. You took time to walk around with the Penny family, to point out to them what things were going to look like. I thought that was very
classy.
Yeah, very nice of you. Thank you for doing that.
But beyond that, our committee report, trunk or treat's coming up October 25th, Booze Off Balsam the 26th. Lots of projects going. They are up to their eyeballs with projects. We're hoping to see the ribbon cutting for the bathroom and the and some of the walking path in September, correct? And then just the bathroom in September. And there'll be walking path and tennis courts in October. The tennis courts are curing. They have to have a certain amount of time before they can be prepped and ready. To all of our pickleball players out there, we know, we hear you, we're coming. But concrete has to settle. You drive by there and you can just start to see and feel all of the things that are changed. And I know that we're making a better sports complex for our youth. And I look at the idea of seeing that concession trailer out there and seeing these other things. We're doing some incredible things for our youth in our community. We're really excited about it. Beyond that, the only other things I would say that we talked about was the overall timeline for the pool. When are we going to see the next things? When are those things going to happen? When is some of the fencing going to go up? And then I want to make a special message out to some of the people that asked me. I know there were a bunch of people that asked, could we preserve some of the bricks from Penny Pool? And I'm going to take the full blame. I did not get a chance to have that conversation with Park and Rec before I took the excavator to it. And then at the meeting last night, I did make a request of them to see if they could go out and spare some, but it's already been cleared and leveled. The building's gone. It was 24 hours. And so everybody who asked me for that, I do apologize.
That doesn't mean we can't go get some
They
bigger
have already,
pieces of the
they already
bricks.
tried.
Yeah, but there's a lot of the brick, they're still demoing concrete. I bet you there's still some brick around. We could gather
Well, I was
a
hoping
couple
to get just some
pieces.
2x2 like shards.
We might be able to make that
Bottom
happen, so.
line here, this is the message to the public. We asked during committee meeting. I wish you guys were here to hear us. I will say we had one special citizen guest, and Travis was here. Thank you for being here, Mr. Endicott. I appreciate seeing him at the meeting. And but overall, I wanted the message about that we do hear you. We're trying to see if we can pull something off. And thank you, because you probably inspired another idea for us when we get to the Veterans Memorial that we're doing in conjunction with Penny Pool. Maybe we can find a way to tie those things in together from a brick perspective. I really like the idea of maybe doing it for fallen Sons of Ridgecrest or veterans of Ridgecrest, that were born and raised here. So I don't know exactly how we do it, but.
Should I make a suggestion? Maybe not so much brick, maybe we use some of the pieces of the deck or the coping.
Yeah, so I'm not talking the deck, the brick pieces that people want, they can just have them. I'm talking about maybe when we get to the square, we could do something that was bricked there.
Yeah, I was just thinking for the people that asked, because I know they're demoing the deck right now. There's decent
Pieces of the-
chunks
the
of the
swimming pool deck.
actual, the deck.
If that, again, reach out to Narissa or myself. We're trying to communicate with you that we hear you, but it's also, we're not going to hand you a piece of asbestos. Okay. Yeah. Come off, break you off a piece of Kit Kat bar.
You better leave a hammer for us then.
Taking my hammer. I don't think there was anything else. Was there anything else, Mr. Gorman, that we didn't cover?
No, you're typically comprehensive, my friend, though there was a tricky thread on Facebook regarding whether or not we managed to salvage the plaque at the pool. Of course, I asked, what plaque? I looked that place over very carefully, at least on the outside, and there was no plaque that I could see. Others insist there never was a plaque. I asked, perhaps among those people who know the complex better than I do, may there have been a plaque on the inside that we didn't know about?
I'm hearing a big maybe. So when I was talking with the family, they said there used to be something, and they didn't say plaque, but they said there was something inside explaining the story of Sergeant Penny and how it happened. Now, I don't know, because there's been a lot of time that has passed when it got shut down. There could have been things removed. Who knows?
I can just speak to my time when this all first started. I have walked that building inside and out numerous times, checking on utilities, making sure that we wouldn't have not only a problem, but we have one of the guys that are working on the demo potentially getting hurt. I did not see anything that talked about the story, so if it was there, I know the building did get broke into a couple times. I don't know if it got taken or if it's in storage somewhere, but I have never been privy to seeing something like that. We did salvage the letters.
Yeah.
We did salvage anything that we felt was of value, so we could do something with them in the new complex, but.
Yeah, I know we spared the letters and. Bottom line is, we are really trying to be as respectful as possible to this project. I cannot tell you, that anybody who ever asks, I always laugh when they ask, is it gonna be named? Guys, we are gonna fulfill the promise of respect for this thing from start to end. Okay, with that, that was all for city org. Next would be, and then one more plug, again, the Movies in the Park this Friday night with RPD Open House. September 6th, RPD, and then bad guys in the park, so, but not real bad guys. Okay, and infrastructure.
Yeah, infrastructure. So actually, Mr. Crutchfield, you had a very good summary of how it went. And the big thing was we talked about Travis going to conduct a study for Sunland and Bowman, and that was the largest topic of discussion, as I recall. And so Travis is going to move forward, right? Yep. With that study. Traffic studies are not a small thing. They need to be initiated by a committee and make sure that we're all kosher with it. And he has room in his budget, so he's going to go forth and do the will of the community. Do you have anything, Solomon? Okay.
RECVB? That would be Jen but I don't think we have anybody from RECVB present. No?
Not this evening, sir.
Okay. See the DI for complete coverage of the RECVB meeting. That's the best way I can honestly tell you. Okay, other committees, boards, and commissions. Any?
No.
I know that I have LAFCO the next meeting, and due to the technical challenges of the last meeting, I will be attending that in Bakersfield for this coming meeting. If you want to make that a remote for me back, I don't know what the agenda looks like today. We can discuss that and make a decision.
That's the upcoming September meeting here?
That's correct, ma'am. That would be on my birthday on the 17th. I get to spend it in Bakersfield. No, but it won't be my 50th, so it's okay. That one I don't want to spend in Bakersfield. Okay, city manager report.
I do have just a couple little updates for you guys. Just want to first and foremost apologize to you guys in the community for not being able to attend yesterday. I had a family issue I had to attend to. Was sad to miss it. It's a huge achievement, and really excited to be a part of this. And then second, just wanted to give you guys a little update on Down Street. Down Street is about, I'm going to say 50% complete now, so we are moving ahead of schedule. Friday, they're going to be starting to truck base in. You should start to see it really start to take shape and look like a road starting next week. And then last thing, I just wanted to thank Narissa and all the other staff for all their help with preparing the, I almost called it a demolition party, but the ribbon cutting for the pool with the last minute thing that popped up. I wasn't able to really be as much of a part of it as I wanted to, so thank you guys very much for picking the ball up and running with it. That is all.
It was great. If I can just jump in on something real quick that was, we had meetings throughout the week, and one of the meetings I had this week, and we've already asked RPD as well. We understand that having that intersection at Downs and Bowman is interfering with some traffic patterns, especially those going to Fowler Elementary. And we understand that there are parents that are going to both Realms or to Fowler and are going through the Upjohn corridor now. So the traffic on Upjohn is higher. We've had 2 accidents there this week. Without me having to use inappropriate language, please slow down. Your kids are more important than getting them there on time. And I promise you they will be equally as happy to show up on time without spending an hour on the side of the road after mommy got in an accident. Or daddy sped through an intersection. We all deserve the same respect. Slow down. We understand that your exact traffic pattern has been changed temporarily, but please slow down. Next Monday, when I hear, why is there a bunch of people getting tickets at the intersection of Downs and Upjohn? This is your warning. Slow down. Public service announcement complete. Okay. Future agenda items. Anybody? I'm going to go ahead and jump on one, and I'm going to backtrack what I said last period. So, had a good conversation with some people about whether or not the hybrid needs to come up right now. And the general concession was, well, let's wait and see what future councils want to do before we start making any changes. I think that's the right answer. I think that, I just think that there's a time for us to look at how that participation involvement should or shouldn't be. And we'll do that after the silly season is over. And we'll come back and let the leaders who are elected for this next cycle to be able to make that decision. Okay? Mayor and council comments. I'll start with Mr. Gorman. You got anything, my friend?
I don't, except I found yesterday's, was it yesterday?
It was.
Demolition, oh my gosh. It was a cosmic event. I enjoyed the heck out of it. Nice going in setting the whole thing up. I look forward to all that's about to come subsequently. That's it.
Mr. Raymond.
We're good, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Rajat.
It was a good meeting, good conversation. I mean, we respect each other's opinion. If we have to disagree, we respectfully disagree with each other. So that's the goodness of this council. So I thank everyone for their input in all the matters, and thank the staff for their hard work, especially with the Penny Pool. Nerissa, thank you for what you did. And Travis, you missed the fun yesterday. So we missed you too. So
We'll throw you in the pool in a year from now.
yeah, thank you.
Nothing for me.
I don't have anything else. It's been a nice meeting, and I echo the sentiments of Councilman Rajaratnam. A lot of times people love to say, we just all follow the same drum. God, I wish you understood how much that's not true. But people will make whatever stories they like, especially this season. Every story will come out of the woodwork because people like to judge information given online rather than taking the extra time to actually research it themselves. I encourage you to do that. There's a lot of misinformation that gets flown around. I always say talk to the person for 5 minutes, and you'll get a better impression of who they really are than you ever will in spending 5 hours on Facebook. So with that, I wish everyone a wonderful evening, and hope to see many of you at the open house on Friday. Have a good evening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.